Hi, it's Amanda Green from Amanda Green, and I just wanted to do a quick video just to update everybody on what's happening. Excuse me, what's happening with the Green family. We are still in our temporary accommodation. We've got 2 more nights now until our furniture arrives, and I don't know. I'm just desperate to get everything here and start getting it packed away and start to nest. And the kids um, are pretty keen to get their toys and everything back. They've been real troopers and going without, but we're all pretty keen to start getting set up and settled. In saying that, we have fit in um, our new place really well. I'll start with the kids. Like I've signed them up for swimming lessons and guitar lessons, and we had our first little athletics on Friday. So, there's certainly been plenty to do for them and getting them organised. Apologies, the air conditioner here is really loud, but it's so ridiculously hot without it, so I can't make do. So sorry about that. So yeah, the kids have settled in really well. All their activities have been booked, and we've got our first swimming lesson this afternoon, and our first little athletics was Friday. And they seem to really enjoy that, so that was good. It's the only thing which they can do aside from the swimming lessons and the music up here for their particular age groups. They had to be 7 to do dancing, even though Kaylin, my 4-year-old, used to do fairy ballet where we came from in New South Wales. That was not available to her up here, and my youngest did like a little taekwondo, and they do have judo club up here, but unfortunately you've got to be 7 to do that. So yeah, they've settled in well. I've booked them into all the activities that I can book them into. So yeah, that's sort of been fairly smooth sailing, that part. Rego changeovers for interstate, change has gone smooth. License renewals for interstate, and we've had to get new licenses issued, all those sorts of things, and we managed to knock those jobs over really quickly. A priority for me was the ambulance subscription, just in case, being pregnant, if I went into early labour, I would need to obviously utilise the ambulance to get to the hospital and whatnot. And speaking of hospitals, I'll come back to hospitals because this is something that I wanted to add about that. My husband with work doesn't need to have ambulance cover, but unfortunately the kids and I do. So, by chance an accident happens, I wanted that to be a priority of things to do. We've got power and electricity, power and water sorted to the new place, so they're booked in to come and hook everybody up for everything that we need tomorrow at our welcome visit. There's going to be a little bit of a delay on the internet, so I'm hoping today I can get this video up, and then tomorrow I'll do a tour of our new house empty before we leave here, and before our furniture arrives, so you can see that. So the videos are not, few and far between. It could quite possibly take a couple of weeks to get an internet provider sorted and get them out to check lines, etc., and whatever they have to do. So there might be a little bit of a hiccup there, but everything else has been smooth sailing. Kids have transitioned in really well. Nalia did have a sad day come day 2. Did the emotional mummy moment video on my first day of drop off, and everybody was fine. Hiccups. They weren't bothered by me leaving them at their new schools at all, so that was good. But day 2 for Nalia, there was a little bit of a hiccup. She did get really emotional and quite sad about mummy leaving her at daycare, and the ladies there warned me that on the first day. She said, like, she's had a really good day today. Day 2 will be the tough one because she knows that you're not coming back for a little bit. So so that was the case. That the ladies are on the board with that, and they're really lovely. I'm happy with the school that we chose for the 2 bigger kids, and the daycare, just perfect, absolutely perfect. So you know, it's really good to go on recommendations of locals when you have to make these decisions from a distance, and you can't sort of you know, you don't have the local knowledge to be able to make those decisions. So once again, I'm really happy with, you know, the recommendations that were given to me, and following that advice. So yeah, so school's good. My husband's slotted into work okay. He's completed his first week of work. He does get to have Wednesday and Thursday off for our furniture to arrive and help me mark everything off. You know, you got to, with the removalists, you got to tick to make sure they deliver each box and tell them, you know, what room and everything to go into. So that is going to be Wednesday, Thursday. So yeah, so he gets to have those 2 days off, and we're pretty keen to get our second vehicle happening and up here with the removalists as well. We've had ridiculously early starts. You know, my husband starts work at 7:30, and it's where we're staying here in our temporary accommodation. There's a good, you know, 20-minute drive, and the kids start their school day at 8 o'clock. So we pretty much had to be out the door, everybody, ready to go at 7:15. So that means everybody's breakfast, everybody's dressed ready for school, teeth brushed, hair done, the whole kit and caboodle, you know, at 7:15. And I mean, that's really early for me and the kids. We normally sort of, you know, like 7:45 out the door and going to school sort of just at that last bit. So, you know, that's been a real struggle. So we're really looking forward to having the second vehicle. So, yeah. In terms of shopping, the limited shopping selection is going to be quite challenging, I guess. Not that there's nothing that you can't get here. You know, there's a small better electrical if you need a fridge and a freezer and washing machine, you know, at a pinch. There's a little toy world in the town. The Woolworths is not that flash. The fresh produce is, you know, not the best to say the least. You really have to look everything over, you know, make sure there's no mould, check your use-by dates, those sorts of things. When you're at the shops and when you're making your purchases, just, yeah, and make sure everything's sealed. The seals underneath the caps of the lids, you know, like I've had to make sure everything's sealed because, you know, it's a very sort of, I suppose you could say, a low socioeconomic area that the town is in, which we have moved near, and that's been trying to be politically correct there. And, you know, there is a lot of open stuff on the supermarket shelves, you know, that people have just sort of obviously helped themselves to, you know, whilst they've been going around doing their shop. So, yeah, so when it comes to shopping, I've had to be really careful. You know, I don't want to be spending lots of money and getting these things, and obviously when I get home I find out that they've been opened already and, you know, contaminated, for lack of a better word. So yeah, so that's the downer so far, and I expected that, which is why I sort of stocked up on things before I left. But in saying that, you know, that hasn't arrived yet. That's coming with our shopping. I mean, with our removalists, the stockpile stuff. So yeah, that's been the downer. One positive is all the parks and playgrounds that the kids have in the local town are all undercover, and no more horrible pine bark chips. You know, the kids' playgrounds in New South Wales have the pine bark or the chip bark underneath the playground, as opposed to the recycled rubber that's quite spongy when they fall. So the kids have less chance of getting completely and utterly filthy, which, you know, works for mummy because she's doing all the cleaning. But yeah, the undercover is just great, even though you still obviously have to have a hat and sunscreen and all that whatnot. It's just nice to get that shade over the top. So yeah, so positive there. We haven't sort of obviously had the opportunity to get out and about and explore too much yet. Oh, the big AC's just kicked in out the back. Sorry if that's really loud. But we will do, you know, plenty of time. We're here for at least 3 years, so we, you know, don't want to rush these things. Just quickly before this video gets too long, I just wanted to update you about the hospital situation. Like I said, everything fell into place with appointments and stuff last week, and I did have the opportunity to meet the local private doctor here that would be doing my delivery, because he's the only private, obstetrician in town. And so we had our appointment, and he did his checkup and whatnot and everything that he needed to do. But he also gave me some sort of news, and that's that he will not be delivering the baby in Katherine here. He has actually recommended that I go to a specialist in Darwin, 3.5 sort of hours away. Which is not necessarily ideal, obviously, because, that means my husband and I obviously have to drive 3.5 hours away from the kids to go and have the baby. And, even though we can organise for Poppy and everybody to come and look after, the children whilst we're gone, I have to have a C-section because this will be my 4th C-section. Like I've already had 3, so they're not going to let me have a natural delivery after 3 C-sections. So so that's a bit of a downer, a bit of a bummer. I was really hoping to be able to deliver the baby in Katherine, and that way the kids could just do that little short, 20-minute drive with Poppy to come and see both mummy and the baby on day 1, the afternoon of day 1. So now it's sort of looking like it's going to be day 4 or day 5, because that's how long I'll have to stay in hospital in Darwin for, before the kids get to meet the baby. So I'm a bit bummed about that. And I've never really had a night away from them. So this is going to be a real struggle for mummy. But it's sort of out of my hands, out of my control. Nothing I can do about it really. His reasoning was that the scar tissue on a 4 C-section was just not worth. It's going to be quite tricky, so you might as well just go straight to the capital city and get it done by a real specialist as opposed to, taking, I suppose, a risk, so to speak, with a smaller, public hospital. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Appointments done, falling into place, kids are settled, hubby's settled. I'm getting there. I've done the once around of all the shops and so I met a few friends already, so that's always good. So hoping to keep you updated a little bit more, and like I said, tomorrow I'm hoping to do a little bit of a tour of our new house before our furniture arrives. So take care, and just an update, letting everybody know how we're going, what's happening, positives, negatives, all that kit and caboodle, and no regrets yet. Take care and talk soon. Bye.